Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 favorite conversation movies. Yes, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done a top 10 list. I've been so busy focused on tier rankings, I haven't done like a top 10 list, and God knows when. It's been a while. So, I thought I'd talk about conversation movies. I love movies that are solely focused on conversations. I think that's just interesting, and I just love it. It feels more real, and it feels like you're in this conversation with these characters and stuff. And I'm not talking about just like big dialogue movies like a JFK or something, or even Casablanca. I'm talking about movies about deep conversations, and the focus of these movies are the conversations. So yeah, like that's what I mean by like a conversation movie. Like there could be a lot of movies with conversations and dialogue heavy films, but that's not the sole focus, is the conversations. These are movies that the conversations are the films, and that's what makes the films what they are. So here are my top 10 favorite conversation movies. And before top 10 lists, I'm going to give a couple honorable mentions. First honorable mention is a big one, Glengarry Glen Ross. Fantastic film, directed by James Foley. Based off a play, great cast. You have Jack Lemmon, Kevin Spacey, Al Pacino, Ed Harris, Alan Arkin, all in this movie. All give very good performances. And it's a lot about the real estate and these real estate agents trying to, keep their job and get sales going and stuff. And talks a lot about like how much pressure real estate agents go through and everything. And it's a really good movie. Very good, heavy dialogue movie. A lot of interesting conflicts and conversations going on in this film. Next is The King's Speech. Another great film about King George V, who had a speech impediment. This was during World War II. You got Colin Firth, you got Geoffrey Rush, Helena Bonham Carter. Really good movie. The movie is more of like a historical movie, but the conversations between Bertie and Lionel Lone is what really makes the film, and the friendship and learning about each other really makes the film, and it's a really good conversation movie. Third is The Barbershop. The first Barbershop. I love 2 and The Next Cup. The first Barbershop is the focus of just all these guys and girl all at this barbershop talking and joking around with each other. It basically, the whole movie is like a whole day shift with these barbers talking about a bunch of stuff. It's a good time. Ice Cube, Sean Patrick Thomas, Cedric the Entertainer, all good in this movie. Very funny film. Next is Lincoln. Great Steven Spielberg film. I feel like this is like Steven Spielberg tried to make like an epic movie about a president, and the movie is all about conversations and all about these political figures trying to pass this bill and trying to pass this amendment in. And yeah, really good. And lastly, the one I almost wanted to put in was The End of the Tour. Jesse Eisenberg, Jason Segel. It's literally about these two writers talking. It's Jason Segel plays this writer who's got a lot of problems with drugs and suicide, and Jesse Eisenberg is this reporter, talking to him about his life and his writing and stuff. And they talk a lot about life, films, and addictions and suicide, and it's a fantastic film. Almost made my top 10 list. But coming in number 10 is the first Clerks. Clerks is a great fucking movie. This is Kevin Smith's very first film. The whole story of how he came up with this movie and how he made this movie is just brilliant. I'm very excited for Clerks 3, because that movie seems very autobiographical of Kevin Smith's life. This movie is literally just about two guys named Dante and Randall, and it's literally their whole shift as clerks at this convenience store. And Dante, he wasn't even supposed to be working that day. And it literally just shows them, serving guests, dealing with idiots, drug dealers, all kind of crazy people. And Randall runs the video store section, and it's all about how him running this video store really poorly and really unprofessionally. Very funny film. It's got that low budget feel, which kind of brings more of the that interesting indie feel of it, and I really like Clerks a lot. It's one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. It's a great conversation movie. Coming in at number 9 is a very underrated film that came out in, well, I think it was like 2015, maybe? It's a movie called Already Tomorrow in Hong Kong. It is a romance drama film about these two people in Hong Kong, and every few months they meet with each other and just have this long conversation. It stars Jamie Chung and Brian Greenberg, and really great film. This movie, it borrows a lot of tropes from like movies like the Before trilogy and stuff, but the movie still has its own identity and tries to be its own thing, and these characters are very interesting. And I love that every time they meet up with each other, there's always something different going on with their lives. And I really liked this story, and I really think this movie is super underappreciated. And yeah, I think it's fantastic. If you are into movies about heavy conversations and couples and stuff, if you're a fan of movies like the Before trilogy, definitely check this one out. Number 8, one of the best romantic comedies ever made, and that is When Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally is an 80s rom-com starring Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. Directed by Rob Reiner. This movie is really good. It's super funny. It's super real. It's super deep. And it's always just been a personal favorite. And a lot of the focus is these characters of Harry and Sally and their conversations with each other. And I love in the first act of the film is just them meeting each other every 5 years. And then when they finally are much older, they just meet, have dinner, and they become friends. They don't explore a sexual or romantic relationship. They just become friends. And they talk about their feelings like they would just a normal buddy. And that's most of the film. And it's interesting. The chemistry between the two of them is fantastic. The writing is super good. And the movie inspired many romantic comedies. And never were as good as When Harry Met Sally. But great film. Number 7 is My Dinner with Andre. My Dinner with Andre is a fantastic film about literally just two old friends catching up. They meet at a restaurant and they just talk. The whole movie is just the two of them talking about their lives. Business lives. They talk about spiritual things and the future and the past and the meaning of life. And just a lot of interesting conversations they have, and it's a really good movie. Like, this is another film, like, if you want to watch a movie just about really good conversations with good dialogue and just two very good performances, check this one out. It's a good one. Number 6 is Woody Allen's best film, Midnight in Paris. Say what you will about Woody Allen. God, there's a lot to say about that fucker, but he makes some pretty good movies. He makes some stupid, pretentious BS, but he makes some good shit, and this is his best film. Midnight in Paris, starring Owen Wilson, Rachel McAdams, Marion Cotillard, and Kathy Bates. A lot of great actors and actresses. The movie is about this man named Gil Pender, and he is a Hollywood screenwriter, but he's obsessed with Paris, the city of Paris and stuff. And one night he gets very drunk, and he time travels to Paris in the 1920s and meets all his idols like Pablo Picasso, Ernest Hemingway, Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald and Gertrude Stein, and falls in love with a woman in the 1920s. And the whole movie is about conversations about love and life and time, of course. Him talking to all these famous people in the 1920s, talking to Ernest Hemingway about literature, and Gertrude Stein and the Fitzgeralds, and talking to them, and talking to this woman about love and the future and stuff. And when he's in the prison, he's talking to his fiance about all these things too and stuff. It's a very funny movie, but also a very deep-rooted film with great conversations. Definitely check this one out if you haven't seen it. Number 5, probably the best movie starring a man by himself, and that is Locke. Locke stars Tom Hardy, and the movie is literally just Tom Hardy in a car. That is like the whole movie. There's quite a few movies about people alone. Like, watch the movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds. That's a good one. But yeah, this one is the best one. Like, any movie, just a guy in a car. Like, that sounds really boring and kind of stupid and uninteresting, but the movie is very interesting. And Tom Hardy is incredible in this film. It's literally about this man who works with concrete, and he's got a lot on his plate, man. He's just driving somewhere, And you don't find out until as the movie keeps going and the story progresses. He's meeting a woman who's having his child, and this woman is not his wife. And also, he's getting all these phone calls from his wife, and from this woman, and from his friends, and from his employees and stuff. He's trying to get a contract going. He's trying to work things better with his wife, but he's also trying to do the right thing about this new woman. There's a lot of things going on, and he's also talking about himself and his own personal issues and inner demons and stuff. And this movie is completely carried by Tom Hardy, and he is absolutely fantastic. And he's the reason why this movie is so fucking good. Check it out. Number 4 is Pulp Fiction. This is like such an easy answer about like what's a good movie about conversations. Pulp Fiction. There's like a dozen amazing conversations in this film. It's a bunch of different stories, all told in a non-linear way. It's written and directed by one of the greatest screenwriters, Quentin Tarantino. The movie stars John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Samuel Jackson, Bruce Willis, Vin Rhames. Everyone's amazing. I don't know what else to say that a million people haven't seen. It's fucking Pulp Fiction. It's one of the most iconic films of all time. Royale with cheese. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Number 3 is a film I've been talking about this video, many videos since I've been on YouTube. It's the Before trilogy. Before Sunset. Well, it's Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. It's a trilogy about a romance between two people named Jesse and Celine, played amazingly by Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. The movie is directed by Richard Linklater. All three of these films are perfect in their own way. The first film is about them meeting. They walk around. Where the fuck are they? The first film is it Italy or some shit? Yeah, they walk around like Italy, and the whole movie is just them spending all night together, talking and learning about each other. And the movie ends very up in the air. You don't know if they'll ever see each other again. And then, bam! 9 years later, we made a sequel, Before Sunset. And same thing. They haven't seen each other in 9 years, and they meet each other again. He's on a book tour, and then they meet, and they talk. Movie ends again, up in the air. You don't know if they see each other. Next film comes out, Before Midnight, 9 years later. They're married and have a bunch of kids, but marriage life isn't what they thought. Really great films, 3 amazing films about these two people and their lives together. I can't say anymore. It's just amazing. Go check it out. Number 2, another one of the most iconic films of all time. One of my favorite films of all time is The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club is John Hughes at his best. This movie is such an amazing coming-of-age story, and it's literally about 5 teenagers in detention chatting with each other, talking with each other, learning about each other. The beginning of the film, they all are their own stereotypes: the basket case, the jock, the nerd, the criminal, the princess. But by the end, there's so much more than their stereotypes. They're layered and deep-rooted characters, and they're all very complex in their own ways. And they all have their good and dark stuff, and they all have their good and bad things within inside them. And because of the one day they spend together, their lives are changed forever. Check out The Breakfast Club. It's amazing. But it's not the best. It's not the best conversation movie. Easily the best conversation movie is 12 Angry Men. Sidney Lumet's 12 Angry Men, starring Henry Fonda, is a perfect film. This is like tension done brilliantly, dialogue done brilliantly, execution done brilliantly. It's literally just about 12 jury members trying to decide the fate of this young man. And did he kill this woman? That's it. It's literally these 12 guys in a room trying to figure out this case. And in the beginning, they're all made up their minds that he's guilty, but one person speaks up, and maybe he's not guilty. And then as the story keeps going, progressing, everyone's like going on his side, and then it creates tension, and it creates disbelief, and it creates a fascinating story. Really good movie, brilliant dialogue, some of the best writing I've seen in any film. 12 Angry Men. So yeah, that was my top 10 favorite conversation movies in my opinion. So in the comment section below, please tell me, what is your favorite conversation movie in your opinion? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and join the dark side.